Hi everybody, Rex here. I'm going to now demonstrate how to set up auto detail levels in Milkshape3D. I'm using the standard SDK player DTS shape Kork as an example in Milkshape. But in order to set that up correctly, I'm going to use the SDK max generated shape to copy those detail levels down into Milkshape and export. Here I have the existing SDK player DTS shape Kork in ShowTool Pro. There are three sets of parameters we're going to need to pull out of here and do a little bit of math before we can go into Milkshape and set up that mesh. The first set of parameters we're going to need are the detail levels. The max generated detail levels were indexed from 0 to 7, and as you see as I run the slider, the mesh collapses corresponding to those detail levels. The next set of parameters we're going to need are the detail poly numbers. These are the rendering polys in the scene. They go from a high of 2,430 to a low of 109. That's pretty few, but as you can see, it still is animating with the shape, which is pretty impressive. So now we'll reset that back to 0. The third set of parameters we're going to need to use in our math little equations, or well, this is not needed in the math, but it's needed in the exporter, is the detail size. Those numbers range from 145 at the high end down to 3 at the low end, corresponding to our lowest poly level. And now we'll set that back to 0. So we're going to need the detail levels, the detail polys, and the detail size numbers. We're going to jump out of the ShowTool Pro and go into an IDE where you'll see these numbers again, and a fourth set of numbers which I derived at. Here I have the detail levels going from 0 to 7. Here I have the detail size numbers from 145 to 3. And over here the detail poly numbers, which are 2430 down to 109. I had to do a little bit of math to get a fourth set of numbers. The percentages, this is a number we're going to plug into an editor field in the dialog for the export. Those numbers range from 1 down to a low of 4%. Well, nearly 5%. So now we'll jump into Milkshape, and I have a scene with Kork loaded. There's a single mesh in the scene. It's named body mesh. It has the standard default value of 0, which means we'll get one detail level, only one upon export. We'll go into that mesh to edit the mesh, and the first thing we'll do is edit that detail size from 0 to now be the highest detail level at 145. Then we'll travel down to this section of the exporter, a new section for MultiRes, and we'll begin adding our new detail levels. Our first detail size we're going to add was 80. That had a value of 0.906. Whoops, I made a mistake. Whoops, not 90. 9465. We'll add another detail level at 60. This one is 9.065. Carrying on, we're going to add another detail level at size 30. That value is 0.6633. As you can see, I'm doing this in real time. It is kind of tedious. It is easy to make mistakes. I've already made one, but bear with me, please. We'll add in the level after 30, which was size 18, and that value was 0.5181. Carrying on with the next level, which was 12. That has a value of 0.2950, 29%. Another level we're going to add is 6. That value is getting pretty small. That's 0.1452, 14%. And our final detail level we'll add will be of size 3, and that percent is pretty small, 0.448. Now there is only one mesh in the scene, and it has now been set up with these MultiRes details, and we're going to export and see what happens. we're going to use a configure file. We're going to output a dump file. We're going to set the scale at 1 because I don't like to scale any of my shapes, and we're going to check export animations if you're not exporting a DSQ and you want to export animations in a DTS shape. We'll click export DTS. We are going to overwrite our existing file. And we didn't receive a dialog of a crash or anything, so we'll now jump into the show tool and load up that player DTS shape we just exported. As you can see, it does have animation sequence 0 embedded, and if you look up here at the detail levels dialog, you can see that instead of 1 at 0, we now have several detail levels, 7, actually 8, matching the max shape. And if you look at the detail levels, they're very similar. Let's go to the very low ones. They're very similar. And the shape is actually still animating. And there you go. We have auto detail levels out of Milkshape3D. Thank you very much, and I hope this was helpful for everyone.